Amnesty International is calling for an independent inquiry into drone strikes overseas by the Obama administration. It comes after an anonymous whistleblower leaked classified documents about how Obama authorized drone missions between 2011 and 2013. Amnesty says the papers raise serious questions about the human cost of drone strikes. The rights group also says the U.S. government could be in violation of international law. Well, Arsalan Iftikhar is a human rights lawyer and a senior editor of Islamic Monthly magazine. He joins me live now from Washington, D.C. Very much appreciate your time. What's your reaction to what's contained in these papers?
Well, Rob, I think what this treasure trove of documents by this whistleblower proves is that it's been our American government's policy to essentially act as judge, jury, and executioner, in hundreds of drone strikes around the world outside of conventional theaters of war in Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, we have to keep in mind that when you are dealing with non-theaters of war like Pakistan or Yemen, those laws would be governed by international human rights laws, which are actually even more stringent than the laws of war are. And so, it shows that essentially the American government, since George W. Bush, has essentially considered the entire world their battlefield.
The Americans, of course, would say that they have a global presence and therefore they are entitled to respond to any threat to any of their people, irrespective of where they are in the world. Is that not a fair argument?
It is, but under the United Nations Charter, the doctrine of self-defense requires a precondition of imminence, right? There has to be some sort of imminent attack in order to justify any sort of extrajudicial killing. And what we found in this treasure trove of whistleblower documents that were made public by Jeremy Scahill, Glenn Greenwald, and the intrepid journalists at First Look Media, they basically proved that the American government took up to 60 days in order to decide whether or not to execute or assassinate somebody. And so today, on October 15th, that would mean that Christmas Day, December 25th, would meet the imminence requirement, which I think anybody who has any grasp of the English language would know does not mean the word imminent.
Arsalan Iftikhar is a senior editor of the Islamic Monthly magazine, and he's a human rights lawyer. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Hundreds of vehicles have been stranded after